What is up, beautiful people of YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, I am Nick, and on this channel I work on motorcycles, I ride motorcycles, and I travel the country bringing you guys on all my adventures. So if you're new here, or if you haven't already, please go ahead and bang that subscribe button. We're getting real close to 1,000 subs, and I will be doing a giveaway at 1,000 subs. So it's a rainy day here in St. Louis, so I'm going to get some work done on my Sportster. Got some brake pads as well as some rear axle seals. We're going to repack the rear bearings, and we're going to try to get this bike done today. I'm going to try to get the other tank put on it and just get everything back together on it. So let's dive into it and see if we get it done. Alright, so the wheel's all cleaned out on this side, and I had to clean the shims up a little bit because when the axle got hung up I kind of mangled the shims a little. So I just kind of pounded them flat and then took my Dremel and just cleaned the hole on them up. I'm sure some of you will probably bitch at me about that, but so be it. So now I'm going to use some Lucas Red and Tacky. And you can either get a bearing packer or you can do this by hand. I like to do it by hand. Just take your bearing. You're going to go through. And you're going to work the grease into the bearing. As you do it, you'll see the grease come up. Through the rollers. So, funny fact, I used to be really good at doing this by hand about 10 years ago, but over the last few years, well, not the last few years, over the last decade plus, you just don't see serviceable bearings anymore. Everything's gone to a sealed bearing. I mean, even Harley's gone to a sealed bearing. So this is an old skill that not a lot of people seem to have anymore. So if you're good at it, when you're done, there'll be nothing left. I'm not that great at it. So if you have a bearing packer, it makes life easier. If you don't, you can do it by hand. But just go. Bearing is nice and packed. Put our bearing back in there. We'll take our new seal. These are like a couple dollars a piece on JP Cycles. Start the seal by hand. If you have a seal driver, you can use that, or you can use like a large socket. Grab my hammer. And that seal is seated. On another pair of gloves, and we'll flip this wheel over, and we'll do the other side. So I messed these seals up. I got the axle stuck in it, and this was last week. Whenever I had to knock the axle out, my the tool that I used, the long punch I used, it was a little too small, and it caught the inside and kind of knock the seal out on the opposite side. So I figured if I'm going to do one side, that I'll go ahead and do both. So, alrighty. Here's the spacer from the middle of this wheel. So we're going to take that out and make sure we clean that spacer up real well. It seems to be stuck. There it goes. While I'm cleaning that out, I'm checking out the race, just making sure all that's fine. You know, normally if you were going to do all this, you would replace the bearings, but I just I don't see anything wrong with the races. The bearings feel fine. So I'm going to save a little money and just not replace them. Often that comes back to bite you in the butt, so I guess I'll find out. Alrighty, so my spacer, you can actually kind of see there, it's kind of oblonged from everything that happened here. But I actually just took my Dremel. I was able to clean the inside up. Everything slides together. It all slides together fine here. So I kind of pre-fit all this before turning the camera back on. So all we're going to do now is take a little bit of grease and just grease that spacer. Spacer back in. It's just a tad tricky getting this spacer to seat. Sure, if I disassembled the entire hub, it would go fine, but there it is. It actually just seated. And again, we're going to take our other bearing, dab of grease in the palm, just a little bit more than that. And we're going to start packing that bearing. Clean up that excess. Back. Just keep working our way around. That bearing in place. And on this side, the seal just sits flush. So what we're going to do here is let's find a larger socket that'll bottom out. That one looks like it will. Or you can use a piece of wood, whatever you have on hand. But you want to get that seal as even as possible. Let me see if I have a piece of wood. Here it is with a piece of wood. Again, you could use a seal driver, whatever you really have on hand, just something that is going to bottom out without you overdriving the seal. Alright, so I made a mistake. We're back on the sprocket side, and I put the seal flush against the bearing, and then I started thinking, I'm like, well, that's stupid. The bearing's going to rub on the seal. So I actually referred to my manual, and I'm supposed to have that seal flush. So luckily, I was able to pull the seal up without damaging it and seat it flush with the piece of wood. And now we are going to reinstall the sprocket. So I could have easily left that out, but I try not to do that kind of stuff. I try to let you guys know that we all make mistakes. So hand start the bolts. Don't cross thread them. I've got one here that feels just a little goofy. The others have all started fine, so I take my ratchet and just alright, that feels fine. I'm going to take my cordless here. I know, I didn't do a star pattern, but we're not torquing yet. I was just loosely running them down. Now I'm going to take my air gun. and hit them with that. So I have the manual. The proper thing to do would be to find the torque spec on them and torque them. I do have a real nice torque wrench here, but 2 Ugga-Duggas, they'll be fine. So unfortunately, I forgot to turn the camera on when I did the belt tension, but that is all adjusted. Everything's good. And we are going to go ahead and torque this rear axle to 60 foot-pounds. I'm going to put my torque wrench there. And that is set to 60. Now I'm going to turn this torque wrench down to 50. I don't really have enough room over here to bring the camera, but I'm going to torque this swing arm bolt because I did replace the swing arm last week. Alright, so both the axle and the swing arm are now torqued, and everything looks good and moves good. Well guys, I've got her all together. I'm pretty happy with her. I still have my little gauntlet fairing up there. I may put that on, I don't know. But let me fire it up for you guys. The bike runs good. I'm real happy with it. So there's a break in the rain. I'm going to go take it on a test ride and enjoy the little bit of time I get before it rains again. So that's going to effectively end this video. I appreciate and love each and every one of you. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please bang that subscribe button. Give me a like, leave a comment, go down to that description box and follow us on social media. Again, I love you all. I will see you next week. I'm out.